Okay, cool. There we go.
Okay, so what I did here was I created a small, very simple skeleton of a like a carnival game. So essentially, it's this thing here. So we have a crosshair that are moving around, and we have these balloons. And if I click, I shoot them. And you can see that there's actually a score at the top left corner. I've made no sort of penalty for missing them or anything, but we could create like another counter that would be bullets and lives and so forth. So this is, and you can see it only hits when it's yeah, well, it's because the image is bigger. But this thing is actually quite simple. It's just based on one scene that is blank. So my scene is here, very advanced scene, and in the scene I added my main actor graphics, which is a crosshair, and you can see the crosshairs here. There you go, just one image. And I also have some properties set. So this is a player type, and the other type of actor I have is a balloon, and that is of the type actor. So there are two different types. I could create my own group. So I could create a group called balloons, but it doesn't matter. It's just that there are different ones. So in here, I have the collisions for this thing set up so that it collides with players, tiles, and actors. So these things collide with everything. Actually, if you let enough balloons get born, you can see that they actually collide. That might or might not be a good idea, so I could turn off actors here so the balloons wouldn't intercollide. It's up to you how you want to do it. The other thing is that on my crosshair, I've set this to also collide with everything. I don't really need tiles because I'm not using tiles, and I don't really need players because it's a player itself, but it doesn't matter. I could turn it off. Oh, sorry, players, there you go. It doesn't collide with players. So when the crosshair and any balloon touches each other, it gives me an event. Actually, see, if they touch each other, it will give an event. I've done a small thing here. I've made this turned on this checkbox that is a sensor. That means that it will throw an event that it collided with something, but it will not do the collision checking. So if I turn this off, I just check the balloon. Yeah, the balloon doesn't have that. When I turn this off, I will actually push the balloons around, and they'll die. By the way, so you can see, oh, they won't die because I didn't click. But you can see then I can push the balloons because now it's not just a sensor.
And they rotate.
Yeah, I put rotation on them, so the physics engine will actually make them rotate. But when I set this to as a sensor, it will only report that there's a collision, but it won't do all of the physics calculations, which is good for something like this. But actually, I think I should just create this from the ground up, so I will close this game. Just save this. And I create a new one, and it will be a blank game, so there will be nothing in here. Just call it carnival. Just leave it at the defaults. I could set something different, doesn't matter. There you go. So we have a completely empty game. Then I need to add some actors, and I will add an actor called Crosshair, And when I create that, I will get the option to add animations, which is basically just images. I will have an animation of duration 1 frame. I found a nice little image of a crosshair here somewhere. There we go. Grab that one. So that's it. Good. So I have my crosshair graphics ready. Then the next thing is I need to add another actor. I can call that balloon. Like so. And I also need to add an animation for that. And I have a balloon image. That's this one. I could also use something else, but this is fine. Good. And we can say this is the transparent color. Good. So I've got 2 actors created. I need to create a scene. And I just call this scene 1. And I can let's give it a gradient just for fun, so that it has a little bit of so it looks like this. Then what I do is I add my my crosshair to the scene. So I go to actors, and I click the crosshair, and I just place it in here somewhere, like so. And then I go back to my actor types and I grab my crosshair, and I can add a behavior to this thing, either here or down here. And there's one called follows mouse. There we go. And actually this will have like you saw that I was sort of dragging it around, so you can set the speed here. So to not make it too frustrated, I'll set the speed to 100. Good. So let's test again. And the result is that I get the crosshair moving around after the mouse. Right? And then we need to create balloons. So if I go to my scenes, I can also add behaviors or events to this one. I'll just make my own script here. I add an event, and this event will be when updating. There we go. And then I can add a thing to the scene. So I have to remember where I have this add actor. Create. It's not that one. It's, create actor. Yeah, should be this thing. Good. And so I'm always creating an actor, and I can choose an actor. So this will be the balloon actor, and I can just type in a position here. So 100 by 100, and it will be at, let's just call it middle for fun. So I'll test the game. So you can see it makes a lot of and then it dies because I'm making a lot of balloons. And you can see that they actually push each other away.
Collisions.
Yeah, so the reason why it dies so fast is probably because there's too many collisions. So instead of it creating a balloon every single frame, I can do one in the flow section called time. And instead of doing this as always, what I'll do is I'll add an event that is called when creating. So when the scene is created, it will do this, and what it will do is create a loop that is every, say, 1 second. It needs to do something. I'll just grab this thing over here, right click and go copy, and go back to created, paste. So what this means is when the scene is created, it will create this loop, and every single second it will create a balloon at this position. Okay. This one up here I can actually get rid of. I don't need the updated right now, at least. So let's test this game. So you can see after 1 second I get 1 and 2. So you can see that they slowly multiply. Okay. Now instead of it being started at a fixed position, I want a random position. So I can go to math and go random number between something and something. There we go. And I say random number between 0 and screen width in pixels. That is, if I go to the scene section. So this will create a balloon at a random X position. So now you should see it get born at random positions. Right? And sometimes they collide.
Just sometimes.
Okay? And then, oh my! Did I still have push on? It looked like it.
Still like you still.
Yeah, I still have push on.
The mouse.
So I need to make this a sensor. Oh, sorry.
Also the mouse is faster. Yes.
The mouse should be faster.
Yeah, otherwise it's some kind of lag, which is.
So I turn this off. So let's see what happens. So this is better.
Yes.
It's just running around. Okay.
It's still on the line.
Yeah, they're still online. So the next thing I'll do is that I will set the Y position. And the logical thing would be to just say add screen height in pixels. But that will mean that they will be born just outside the screen. That's not good.
Yes, it is. If it is below the screen.
Yes, but it creates a little problem because we'll never see it. So that's one thing. The other thing is we have to make these balloons move. So I go to the balloon. I'll just that one I'll drag out and just let this be at 100 for now. So I go to the balloon, and in the balloon events, I can go to when updating, and I can set the actor motion and we can set a velocity in the direction, but we can also just set a speed. So I grab that one and I set this to Y speed, and I set this to -5, for instance, for self. So that will happen to every single balloon, every single frame. So now it should, you can see the balloons start moving up. Okay? See, that's because they collide with each other. What we could also do is, if we go to the balloon, collisions, and we set these to edit groups, and we say that these should always mess this up. Collisions, and it should well, never mind. I should just set it to a sensor. There we go. So now they should not collide anymore. Now they should just overlap. Yeah. So now they just go upwards. Good. And of course, in the scene here, we can then go and say scene height instead, and let's see how that works. Ooh, it died. Unfortunately, it died. So this somehow doesn't work because they're getting born outside, and I'm not entirely sure why this is a problem, but it is. So I'll add a little piece of arithmetic. So I'll take scene height minus, I guess, 10 pixels should do it. Then I'll move that in there. And let's try it again. It died again.
Isn't it, don't you mean plus 2 pixels?
No, because plus is down. Why?
Oh, okay.
Why does my cursor go nuts?
Because it is not.
I know. I'm wondering about why that goes off to La La Land. It's not supposed to do that. See? Ah, it leaves screen because it's trying to find the mouse. There we go. See, it doesn't like this acceleration thing. But you can see it's still not. We're still not getting any balloons. So let's.
That's because we are.
No. I'll just go to the crosshair here and change the behavior here. Turn on eSync. Just make the speed slightly faster, like so. Okay. Scene, and then change this. Maybe change this to 20. And then try again. Was that good enough? No, apparently not. Try at -50.
No.
Are you sure it's not plus?
I'm quite sure, because this thing here will return the value in height, and you can see if I remove this there, and I set this to 10, it will be at the top. See? And if I set this to 200, I can also just use the fixed value. It doesn't matter. See? So spawn down there. Let's see if we say 300. Well, that sort of works. Oh, now they're intercolliding again. There you go. So let's see. Good. So that creates the balloons that are slowly moving upwards. Then we need to add the shooting of the balloons. And I go to the balloon, and I can add an event. We already have this always set Y speed. We could actually just set this at when created. So instead we go basic when creating, and we just grab this thing and say copy and go to here, paste it. So there's no reason why we set the same variable every single frame. We might as well just set it when the balloon is created. But at the updated thing here, we can do some checks. Oh, actually, we'll make a collision check instead. So we just remove that one. Yes, and then we'll do a collision. So collides with actor of type is the one we probably want here. So when self hits actor type, and we can just say crosshair, then what we'll do is we'll kill itself. So we'll have to do properties kill self. There we go. So what you should see now is whenever I hit a balloon, it should disappear, right? But I want it to only be when my crosshair is over the balloon and I press the key. So what I need to do is let's say user input, and I'll go that's not it. Yeah, we need an if here. Put that in there. Plug that out. If mouse it was pressed on last collided actor. That's where it gets a little tricky. But that will trigger this, hopefully at least. See? So now I can move my mouse across, and if I click, I will pop the balloons.
So, oh,
But you can see if I just hold my mouse, it won't work. I need to like really click them. And it's not really, the one thing that is bad here is that it's actually the mouse, not the crosshair, that is important right now. But it has to be in there. Yeah, so it doesn't work, for instance, that I run the cursor over like this and then click while it's across. I need to have both the cursor and my mouse over the object. That's a little tricky thing.
then just put up the speed.
I could do that. Okay, so another thing we need is a scoreboard. So to create that, I will go to settings, for instance, and there's a section here called attributes. And in here I can create a game attribute, and I'll just call that score. If you know a little bit about programming, this will be like a global variable, so it's accessible everywhere. So I'll just call it score, and the initial value is 0. It's of the type number, and I can also choose a category, but right now there's just this default. So I go OK. Okay. And then in this section here, I can edit the attribute. So I can say set game attributes, set game attribute to the value of game attribute, and also needs a number like so. So I have the value of game attribute, and this should be score plus 1. There we go. And this should also be score. And then I need to move this up there. So if I pop the balloon, the game attribute score should be updated to be the value of the game attribute score plus 1. Okay. Another thing I need to do is I need to create a piece of graphics on my scene. So what I need to do here is add a new event called when drawing. Oh, by the way, when I have something like this, only this stuff inside the event will be executed. So you can have like experimentary stuff floating around. It doesn't do anything. Or you can just drag it to the bin if you don't need it, right? But I'll add a new event called when drawing. Okay, so whenever it's drawing the screen, you can see depending on which event I choose, some of these change. So it's only when I have the when drawing, I get the drawing tab here, and I can draw text.
Game over.
And that should be at like 10 and 10, so that would be upper left corner. And the text I want to draw should be a game attribute, so that should be this thing here. That is, and I think I'll get an error here. I think this will. No, it works. Okay. So you can see whenever I pop it, I get a new one.
So when will it stop?
This game will never stop.
Yeah.
But what I could do was I could create a new game value called life. So if I add a new game attribute, and that will be called life, and the initial value will be 3, for instance. There we go. And then what we will do is on each balloon we will add a new event called update, and we will say if, and then we need to get the motion, the if and this should be, no, not the speed. I don't want the speed, I want the position. And there we go. The x of self is smaller than, where's that? Operation if, there we go, if is smaller than, okay, so if the y value, let's just say on screen, or just the y value of self is smaller than 1, just add it up here. It's one of the tricky ones. Sometimes it's tricky to get it to just, there we go. If it's smaller than this, it should kill itself, of course, because we don't want it to run around outside the screen. Kill self. And we should also update our game attribute. So we'll go to set the game attribute. Attribute life to the value of life, and that should be -1, right? So -1. There you go. Put that up there. Go. So we'll set the game attribute life to the value of life -1. So we'll actually lose 1 life point every time a balloon exits the top of the screen. And then what we can do is add another if. Actually, this should be here, up here. And we go if. And we just need to copy this one. And we need to have this this here. So if the value of game attribute is smaller than 1, we have to end the game, and I'll restart. That is, can I remember? Game flow, fade out, and reload, and yeah, let's try this. This should work. Reload and crossfade for 1 second, like so. So let's see what happens. I don't have anything that indicates that we have the balloons exiting. So that is 1, 2, 3, and then okay. So then we actually, the game restarts, but we don't reset our counter. So that is.
Also on the side,
yeah, you can make all of the details here. So basically, that's how to do a very simple balloon shooting game.
learn the game over.
You just set the game is. You could pause the game. That would work. So, or you could go to a different scene where you had the game over scene. So I could go in here, create a new one called game over. And that should just be black.
Just write with really big letters, game over.
Yes, I can't remember if the letters is here. I need to add them. Oh, never mind. This is the game over. I could just make a picture where it said game over. But this is my game over scene. And then I can just say when the balloon exits, I can go grab this one, fade out, and switch to scene and crossfade. So this one. So that would be my game over scene. Okay, it's angry for some reason. I'm unsure why it's angry. There we go. I don't know why. No. What happens if I grab this one? Yeah. Switch to... Okay, so if you take this one instead. Ah, I know why. Yeah, it's because I need to tell it how long to crossfade. There we go. Game over. There we go. So, stupid mistake. It was simply because I didn't tell it for how long to crossfade. So the game.
But I've noticed when you have already died once, and then when you have only one hit point left or something, it doesn't take 3 balloons afterwards. If you could restart it.
Oh yeah, yes, we need, because I have no place where I reset all the value. If I move the, I have the scene that starts the game, this thing, and in here I should set all of the things. So in here I should set the game attribute score to 0, right? That should be one thing I do. And I should also set the game attribute life to 3.
You should also do like, so every time the balloon reaches one of the sides, it just, you know, bounce away from it.
Yes, that is like added stuff. You could do that if you like. That would just be checking that the value of the balloon was higher than the width of the screen or lower than 1, and it will do that. One thing here is, if I go to my game over here, I can create an event in here. So that could just be input. So if I click, then it should start the other scene. So that is this one, and this one, and there, and then switch to this scene, crossfade for 1 second. So now the game should actually restart this way. So I have this game, I'll just make a few shots. There you go, and then I'll let it die. Of course I could add a thing that told me how many lives I had left. So it'll crossfade and wait for me to click, and then it'll start a new game.
So you have 3 lives now.
I should have, because I set
Yes,
it.
you do.
I set it back.
Yes.
So whenever this scene 1 is created, it will set the values. Whereas before, when I created the values or the attributes at runtime of the program, it would set it once to a default, but whenever it respawned the game, it wouldn't reset it. So that's really what it's all about. So I'll save the game, and the graphics was just something I found on Google Images. So.
What if you
Because I
want?
really like those.
What if